Good morning. This is Frank, and I am your job search and job developer. I've been doing this for a number of years, and feel free to catch some of my other episodes and videos in relation to job search. Today, I want to talk about something that's very important, especially those of you that are out there and putting yourself out there looking for work. As you may or may not know, there's many scams today related to job interviewing and search and techniques, and I don't want you to get caught in the situation where you may be robbed, literally robbed. Years ago, we used to have one of the more important scams at that time, when I'm talking about back in the 80s, was, you see a little ad or a Craigslist ad, and where they would say to you, work from home and you can make money stuffing envelopes or whatever. And so what they would do is, here's what the scam was. They would say, send them $5 and send them a postage paid envelope back, and they'll send you all the materials that you need to get going. Basically, what they were doing is they were just literally taking $5 from thousands of people, and that's how they were making their living. It was a scam. I mean, 99.9% of them never ever got to work from home stuffing envelopes. Okay. But today it's a lot more sophisticated with the internet and text messaging. And let's talk a little bit about text messaging. I myself, not that I fell victim to it, only because I was aware of some of these scams, but let's talk little bit about text messaging. As you're applying for work, whether through Career Builder or whatever, there's a lot of people that will try to pick up and scam off of those websites as well. They'll get your phone number perhaps off of an application or whatever, and they'll begin to text you and saying, "Hello, this is so and so, and I've seen your resume and Career Builder, and we have an opportunity that we think will be a great fit for you." So then they'll go yada yada yada. So then they'll try to set up another text message chat with you via chat through text messaging. Okay, and here's how some of these interviews will go and how you can know if they're scams or not. They'll start off by saying, "Hello, this is HR department from so and so. Is this Mr. So and so?" And then it'll prompt you to say yes or no. So you'll say yes. Great. Well, we have an opportunity today, and they'll go on and they'll explain about the opportunity. They will never even mention, most of the time, about your resume or your skill level, and they don't even give you the opportunity, because they're going to say to you, well, overlooking your resume and overlooking your skills, a blanket statement, we just feel that you're a great fit. So then as they go on, this chat will go on for probably maybe 12 to 15 minutes max. At that time, they'll ask you, are you interested in this opportunity? So then they'll say, well, just a moment, let me go talk to my superiors, and they'll come back and say, welcome aboard. You've been approved, and all we need now is your either your bank information, red flag right there, name, address, whatever, another red flag, because if they claim that they have your resume, don't you think they'd have that information, right? Okay, but don't fall into that trap, because I myself, this was probably about 10 months ago, I had an interview where everything seemed okay and whatever. And then it came down to saying, well, what we need to do is, in order to pay you, we need to have your bank, and your information. I said, no, 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 no. If I'm going to work for you, uh, I want a paper check. And the reason why, I want to see if this is a valid company that I'm going to be working for. And you know what they'll say to you? Well, I'm sorry, but we don't operate that way. Well, again, that's a scam. Okay, so avoid those people with the plague. However, there are those that are a lot more subtle, and they'll play into you and to get information out of you or whatever it may be. So be careful of that. Again, that's in text messaging, but in social media, a lot of times they'll pick up even on your Facebook postings and whatever, and they'll try to make offers to you, and then they'll try to bring you into a private chat away from your public Facebook. Um, we need to be very careful today of any type of scams out there. It's unfortunate, but they try to take advantage of people who are gullible and people who are especially out of work and desperate. They'll play on your emotions. They'll play. Don't you think? Some of the things they'll even to entice you. They'll say, um, isn't it time that you get back to work? I'm sure that your family would appreciate you working again, and da 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 da. And they'll go on, and again they'll lure you in, thinking that they're going to offer you a position, but all the while they're just trying to get identity information out of you. They're trying to get bank information out of you, and once that happens, now the nightmare begins. Okay, so now you got to take the time to go through your bank, and you got to close out that account and whatever. You got enough on your plate trying to find a job. You don't need to be scammed. Okay, so we need to be careful for those that are out there and beware of those that are out there. I would also highly recommend to you to be very careful about who you make friends with. There's a lot of bots out there today that are just claiming that they're an individual and they want to link up with you. And when I say link up with you, especially be careful with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a reputable site. I'm not saying it's not, but there are those out there, those scammers that will attack through LinkedIn as well. They'll try to say, well, I've seen your profile. I want to get to know you and whatever. And again, they're trying to get information out of you so they can rob you. Okay, so be careful. By the way, LinkedIn is a very reputable and very good site to use, but I want you to be careful about always make sure that you stay within the network. Okay, if anything sounds fishy or whatever, contact administrators of these sites and let them know that, this doesn't sound right, and I want to let you know what was presented to me. This way you help yourself and you can help millions of other people. Save a lot of time by not being scammed as well. Today, again, there are a lot of legitimate text messaging when it comes to employment. There's a lot, like even when it comes to Zoom conferences. I feel more comfortable if I'm going to see face to face in a Zoom conference with somebody. I get to feel and they get to feel for, who we are in one another. And sometimes you'll be offered job opportunities through that as well. But again, you got to be careful. And one of the other things is when you're doing interviews with any company, you want to start off by figuring out, first of all, who this company is, how long they've been in business, what products and services are they providing. That's your part to be able to do a good interview, by the way, to know who this company is. But if something again sounds fishy, run them through the Better Business Bureau site or Yelp, or even see if other people have had bad experiences or good experiences with that particular company. Now, when it comes to what I would call first, second, and third level interviews, especially if you're in the management level, expect to go through at least 3 or 4 interviews. I myself, I can't fathom a time that I've been, one interview in 10 minutes and been offered a $50,000 a year job. It typically isn't going to happen that way, okay? And if it's too good to be true, then it is too good to be true. Always remember that. But again, as you're interviewing, as you're talking to people, I can tell you about an experience that I had maybe about a year and a half ago. I was interviewing with a company, and they were kind of local to me. They were probably about 20 minutes freeway rise away from where I live. And anyhow, they were promoting a job in my background as job developer and resume writer, and they said 90% of what you'll do, Frank, is work from home. And I emphasized to them at that particular point, I needed something where I could be at home 90% of the time, which would have been a good fit. I went through 5 interviews with this company, and guess what? They offered me the position. I started, and within my second day, they changed all the rules of the game, and now they says, well, we need you in the office 3 or 4 days a week. I said, well, now we have a problem. And so I met with the human resource manager of this company, and she says, well, I want to know where things went wrong. I says, well, I can tell you where things went wrong. Your managers, right from the start, didn't take any notes, didn't listen to what I told them, and they mentioned to me, they enticed me by saying 90% of your job would be working from home, and now you want me in 3 or 4 days out of the week. So she says to me, oh, well, I'm sorry, but I'm sure it was just a miscommunication on both of your parts. I says, no, it wasn't a miscommunication. And by the way, I don't mind getting in people's face if I have to. Okay, I don't care if I work for them, because by the way, I wasn't going to work for them any longer after the second day, so I didn't mind telling her what I thought. Okay, no, it wasn't any mistake on my part. It was a mistake on the fact that the very first person that interviewed me made it very clear. And again, didn't take good notes. Went through 5 interviews and nobody ever took the time to relay information about that. So again, all that to say, be very careful in job postings, in job interviews, and make sure that once you know that this is a legitimate company, by the way, make sure that you're clear on what it is that you're looking for. Okay, in what their expectations are. It's important that you come to an agreement. And what I would do is, and I learned this lesson too, especially from this particular job, once I'm done with the interview, I follow up immediately with an email to that particular person who interviewed me, and I will reiterate, by the way, this is what we discussed, da 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 da, you know what I mean? So this way, everything is in writing. And because an email is time and date stamped, so you know exactly, and they will know exactly when you sent it, what was said, and what was said on their part. So if there's any argument at any end, you're covering yourself right in that email. Okay, well, again, I don't want to make this too long of a video, but just be careful out there, okay? If you have any questions or concerns or comments, feel free to jot it down and let me know, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Have a great day.